Hey, welcome to the next episode of the development of our story video game set in the golden age of Hollywood. We're documenting from start to finish the entire production of this game, so enjoy! So the theme of this episode is the world,
the map,
environment design, building the map, which it's not like a game where you go from level to level. The entire game is in a single location.
One of the reasons why we decided on going with a movie studio backlot is because of the huge variety of areas that you have within a backlot. We're kind of merging like a movie studio backlot with a theme park. And so we're kind of getting the best of both worlds where we have that, you know, Disney kind of theme park feel, but it's a movie studio backlot. This is a concept piece that Daniel's been working on. So maybe just point out the different areas and everything, Daniel.
So this is a quick block out inside of Blender so that we can feel out the scale of the whole map. It's really difficult to understand the scale of everything if you're just looking at little pixels on a concept art piece. Just blocking things out, I feel like this is a really nice way for a video game to conceptualize a space. You really need to feel out the space.
Just to briefly go through the different areas, like this is like a pirate kind of area.
And like old Spanish buildings and everything. And then we have a water tank here where we could have a real boat float inside of it. And then back here would be an actual mural painting to look like a sunset.
Then in the top right, you have the sound stages, which will, in those sound stages, it'll have like different kind of productions of maybe movies that they're working on.
Yeah.
Then you have the Chicago area. So this is like gangster kind of stuff.
So then you can imagine like these skyscraper type buildings, they go up and then they just cut off because if it's a studio backlot, they don't need the whole skyscraper.
Then in the middle, on the top here, you have a castle.
So we want it to look really big and epic. But right now it's not epic, but it's big.
And so that'll feel Three Musketeers kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then down here in the middle at the bottom, this is Main Street. So this is like, think of like Mayberry, that kind of thing. Like small town in the 40s and 50s. And then over here you have the Victorian area.
With all these big classic houses.
This is like, what, late 1800s, kind of more ornate. And then we have a sci-fi area.
And all of these are just, I'm just kind of putting it out there. We got something to work off of now. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to make sense.
And this is probably like Flash Gordon or Lost in Space.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
All of the classic science fiction TV shows and movies of that time.
And then like one of the last areas up here is like a jungle.
Hopefully we can make the forest thick enough to where you could essentially like see nothing but trees in every direction.
So this would be maybe like Tarzan.
Or even like there were a lot of adventure movies back in the day.
So that's basically it with the map. Over the course of development, we'll probably end up moving things around. Who knows, an area might change location.
Or heck, if you guys have any good ideas of like iconic movie sets that we should have in it.
Or maybe a genre that we're not thinking about.
Yeah, something that we can put in here.
So one of the other things that we did these past 2 weeks is we created a test area within Unity. It's just like a small little town, kind of think of like Mayberry, and that is an area where we can start building out the environment and the art so we can better understand the challenges that we're going to run into when we have to build out an area and then subsequently build out a whole bunch of other areas. We're trying to find like the commonality between objects and everything so that we can more efficiently create these areas. So you got your sidewalks here. You got some curbs, some little grass areas. Over here, you got like another area with some buildings. This entire lot and grass area and curb and everything, this was generated with Houdini. And I'll show you here in a second what that looks like. When we're doing these big areas, that will save us a lot of time being able to generate all this stuff and then be able to go back and tweak different things. So in order for us to create this little test area that we've been working on, we've started developing some of the kind of environment tools that we'll be using throughout the entire map. And this tool is specifically for generating lots.
Well, we're calling them lots, but
Yeah.
basically it's kind of like what makes up the curb, the grass, sidewalk, and the building.
And then it's a definite space where it has like a boundary where something will be in that boundary, whether it be like a house or maybe the sound stage would be in there. It's just a place where we can quickly draw out and generate that spot for a building. So our thought is we will create these curves, so we can have a curve that defines the perimeter of the lot, and then we could have a curve that defines where we want sidewalks, and then we can also have another curve that could generate individual little like pieces of concrete within the lot. And then all of those are used to either like sweep or extrude geometry out of those curves. And if we get all the way down here, this is what it generates. So this one is one where we can have a curve to do the perimeter, and then we have this other curve that can do like a surface. So we just go in here and we create this curve with Bezier splines, and then it can be kind of confined within the perimeter, and then we can do some other stuff to generate geometry out of it and extrude it up. And then we gave it a little bit of a bevel so that it looks all fancy, and then that gets output as the final sidewalk area. And this one also can generate a grass area. So this literally just takes the perimeter and then spawns a grass area or a quad, and then does some little variation in the height of it.
So I've been trying to figure out how the cameras are going to look, because it's a very important piece of
It's a hero prop.
It's a hero prop. It's something that's really going to identify the story in general for our game. So I want it to be really cool looking and have that awesome mid-century style with a combination of different materials. So hopefully I can come up with something that's cool and iconic.
Because this is essentially the lightsaber for our game.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if we can, because it is just a camera, but that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, and not to mention, eventually, once we get to that point, the game is going to have a whole series of cameras that do different things. It's almost like different types of weapons or something like that. These cameras have different abilities, and you'll want to swap between them
For different scenarios.
Yeah. The next hero prop is the van, and it's kind of like the Lone Ranger's horse. This is an extension of the character, and you as the player are always going to be seeing it. It's always going to be close by because you're driving it around, putting stuff in it, grabbing cameras out of it. So I want to make sure that this is a really iconic item as well. And I did a lot of research on what kind of box trucks and delivery vans would be used back then, and Devco was a brand that seems to be the most common. So it was used as milk trucks, delivery vans, so on and so forth. And so we're gonna try to model the box truck after that. I think we're gonna add a little bit of flair to it to make it seem cooler than like a little cartoon milk truck.
Yeah.
But there's still something kind of charming. Everything was kind of a little bit smooth and round, especially with vehicle design back in the 50s. So we thought we would share with you guys every episode a little glimpse into the story. And if you don't want any spoilers, then maybe just skip this part. I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the main characters, and her name is actually Alex. So Alexandria was basically born into Hollywood. Her father is a famous film director, and so she became a movie star, and she never really had a normal life. So she has difficulty with her identity, and she's not sure if she even wants to be an actress, even though she has all this fame and success. She's had this protected life where she is curious about the world outside, but her father especially is keeping her from being a part of the real world. And so she's tired of being in the studio backlot and wants to leave, maybe. Almost kind of like BioShock Infinite, the girl that was protected, or even Rapunzel from Tangled. Great movie, I don't care what you say.
Well, that's it. Thanks for watching.
Next 2 weeks, we'll have another video out, and it's gonna be just as good as this one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe better. Maybe not. Tune in next time to find out.
Bye.